When things get tough, it's common to feel that the best thing to do is simply to stop. But I'm here to tell you that this feeling, however discouraging, can be a positive sign. Yes, you heard right. That desire to give up can be a sign that you're about to achieve a major breakthrough in your life. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But think with me. How many times have you been on the verge of achieving something significant, only to encounter the biggest obstacles right at the end of the journey? This is more common than you might think, and this is God's way of testing our faith and endurance. He knows we're capable of overcoming these challenges, but He wants to see how far we're willing to go, how much we're willing to trust Him. I've been through this countless times in my life. There have been times when everything seemed to be against me, and the most logical option seemed to be to give up. But it was in those moments that I discovered something incredible. The strength to keep going comes not from ourselves, but from our faith in God. He gives us the strength to overcome the most difficult challenges, and in doing so, He prepares us for the blessings to come. The size of the test and the blessing. A fact that many people don't know is that the size of the test is proportional to the size of the blessing to come. If you are facing a particularly difficult test, it means that there is an equally large blessing waiting for you on the other side, and this is where many people go wrong. They give up right in the middle of the test, without realizing that they were so close to a great victory. I can't stress enough the importance of not giving up. I know it can be extremely difficult. I know it can seem like everything is against you. But believe me, your persistence will be rewarded. And that reward isn't just material or financial. It's often a spiritual reward, a growth in faith, and a greater connection with God. Sign 1. Heartbreak and betrayal. Heartbreak and betrayal are universal experiences that we all face at some point in our lives. Whether in love relationships, friendships, or even with family members, these experiences can be deeply painful. However, I believe that God allows us to go through these difficult times in order to teach and strengthen us. The reality of heartbreak. Heartbreak is something that can shake us deeply. Imagine investing years in a relationship, be it a love affair or a friendship, and suddenly everything falls apart. Betrayal is especially painful because it involves a breach of trust. It's as if a part of us has been ripped away. However, these moments of pain are also moments of great learning and growth. The Bible teaches us that God is close to the brokenhearted. This means that when we are going through heartbreak, God is closer to us than ever. He uses these moments to draw us closer to Him, so that we can find comfort and healing in His presence. The warning signs. Often, before a betrayal or heartbreak, God gives us warning signs. These signs can be subtle, such as a feeling of discomfort or an intuition that something is not right. However, we are often quick to ignore these signs, perhaps because we want to believe the best in people or because we are blinded by love or loyalty. I remember a situation where I consistently ignored the signs that a friendship was becoming toxic. I wanted so much to believe that the person was genuine that I ignored all the warnings. When the betrayal finally happened, it was devastating. However, looking back, I see that God was trying to warn me all along. I've learned the importance of listening to my intuition and paying attention to the signs that God gives us. Closeness with God. During times of grief, we are called to draw close to God. He is our refuge and strength, always ready to welcome and comfort us. The pain of betrayal can lead us to a place of deep introspection, where we begin to seek answers and consolation in God. It is in this process that we find healing and the strength to move on. In addition, these moments of pain teach us about human nature. We learn that people are fallible and that no one is perfect. This helps us to develop empathy and understanding for others. It also teaches us the importance of forgiveness, which is an essential component of our inner peace. Healing through time. Healing from heartbreak doesn't happen overnight. It is a process that requires time and patience. God works on us during this period, healing our wounds and rebuilding our confidence. He gives us the strength to forgive and move on. And through this process, we become stronger and more resilient people. Sign 2. Financial problems. Financial problems are challenges that many of us face throughout our lives. They can arise in a variety of ways: accumulated debts, job loss, unexpected expenses, among others. These moments can be extremely stressful and make us question our faith. However, I believe that God uses these financial difficulties as a test of our faith and responsibility. Financial responsibility. One of the most important lessons we learn through financial problems is responsibility. God entrusts us with resources and expects us to manage them wisely. Financial problems often arise when we are irresponsible with our money. Spending more than we earn, accumulating unnecessary debt, and not planning for the future are common mistakes that can lead us into a financial crisis. I went through a period when I didn't manage my finances well. Bills were piling up, and I didn't have a reserve for emergencies. It was a difficult time, but I learned the importance of living within my means and saving for the future. Financial responsibility is essential not only for our material security, but also for our peace of mind. The test of faith. When we face financial difficulties, our faith is tested in a profound way. It's easy to trust God when everything is going well. But what about when things get tough? It is at these times that we are called to strengthen our faith. The Bible tells us that God provides for all our needs. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 26, Jesus reminds us that if God takes care of the birds of the air, how much more will He take care of us? During my financial difficulties, I learned to trust God more fully. There were times when I didn't know how I would pay the bills, but God always provided a solution. Whether it was an extra job, unexpected help from a friend, or even a reduction in expenses, He never left me destitute. This experience strengthened my faith and taught me to depend more on God than on my own efforts. The ratio of effort to blessing. It's important to understand that God rewards those who are diligent and responsible. If you are working hard, being prudent with your finances, and still facing difficulties, know that God sees your effort. He knows your struggles, and at the right time, He will provide. Sometimes God's answer doesn't come in the form of immediate money, but through opportunities to improve your financial situation. An example of this is when, after months of searching, I got a job that not only paid better, but also offered benefits that eased my financial worries. It was a blessing that came after much prayer and perseverance. God honors those who trust in Him and continue to do their part, even when things seem difficult. Sign 3. Constant failure. Repeated failure can be discouraging, especially when we feel we are doing everything right. However, these moments of failure are often a test of our faith and persistence. God uses these experiences to shape us and prepare us for true success. The nature of failure. Failure is an integral part of growth. Without it, we don't learn, we don't improve, and we don't become resilient. Every failure teaches us something valuable about ourselves, about our limits, and, most importantly, about God's will for our lives. Sometimes, what we see as failure is actually God redirecting us to a better path. When I was young, I tried several times to start my own business, but none of them prospered. Each failed attempt felt like a blow to my self-esteem. It was only after much time and reflection that I realized that God was preparing me for something greater. He used each failure to teach me valuable lessons that eventually led me to success. Learning from failure. Failure doesn't mean that we're incapable or that we're not good enough. It means that we are being refined, like gold in the fire. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn and grow. If we look at failures in this way, we begin to see the value in every difficult experience. Persistence in the midst of failure. Persisting in the face of failure is one of the greatest demonstrations of faith. It's believing that despite the difficulties, God has a plan for us. It is to keep trying, even when all seems lost. This persistence is what eventually leads to success. I know many people who, after failing several times, have found their true purpose and prospered. This reminds me of the story of Thomas Edison, who failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Each failure was a step towards his success. Sign 4. Unexpected conflicts and family problems. Unexpected conflicts and family problems are challenges that we all face at some point in our lives. These moments can be particularly painful, as they involve people we love and with whom we have deep bonds. However, I believe that these conflicts are used by God to test our faith and patience, and to teach us valuable lessons about forgiveness, love, and resilience. The reality of family conflicts can come in many forms. Disagreements with spouses, rebellious children, fights between siblings, among others. These situations can generate a great deal of emotional stress and make us question our role within the family. It's natural to feel discouraged when we face such challenges, but it's important to remember that these moments of conflict are opportunities for growth. God allows us to go through these conflicts to teach us about the importance of unconditional love and forgiveness. In the Bible, Jesus teaches us to love our enemies and to pray for those who persecute us. This also applies to our family members. Even when they hurt us, we are called to forgive and love. The test of patience. Family conflicts are a test of patience. In James chapter 1 verses 2-4, we read about the importance of developing patience during trials. When we face conflicts, we have the opportunity to practice patience and grow in spiritual maturity. I've been through many family conflicts over the years. There were times when I thought I would never be able to resolve certain disagreements. However, instead of reacting with anger or frustration, I learned to take a deep breath, pray, and seek God's guidance. Over time, I realized that my patience was growing and that I was becoming a more understanding and compassionate person. The importance of communication. One of the keys to resolving family conflicts is open and honest communication. Often, disagreements arise because of misunderstandings or a lack of communication. Learning to express our feelings clearly and listen attentively to others can make a big difference in resolving conflicts. I remember a situation where I had a big disagreement with a family member. Instead of walking away from each other, we decided to sit down and talk openly about what we were feeling. This conversation not only resolved the conflict, but also strengthened our bond. Closeness with God. During times of conflict, it's crucial to stay close to God. Prayer and reading the Bible offer comfort and guidance. Passages that talk about forgiveness, love, and patience can help us keep the right perspective and act wisely. Being close to God also helps us to see conflicts in a new light. Instead of focusing on the pain and disagreement, we begin to see these moments as opportunities to show God's love through our actions. This not only helps us to resolve conflicts, but also to grow spiritually. Sign 5. Patience test. Patience is an essential virtue in our spiritual journey. When we face trials and challenges, God is often testing our ability to wait and trust in His timing. In James chapter 1 verses 2-4, the Bible reminds us that trials produce perseverance, and that this perseverance must have its perfect work, so that we are complete and whole, lacking in nothing. The nature of patience tests. Tests of patience can arise in various ways. It can be a situation in which we wait for an answer from God to a specific prayer, such as the healing of an illness, the solution to a financial problem, or reconciliation in a relationship. These periods of waiting can be extremely challenging, especially when we don't see immediate signs of change. I remember a time when I was waiting for a promotion at work. I did everything right, tried my hardest, but the promotion didn't come. It was a huge test of patience. During that period, I learned that God has a perfect time for everything, and that my job was to trust and keep doing my best. The development of patience. Patience is not something we develop overnight. It is cultivated through experiences and often frustrations. God uses these situations to teach us to rely more on Him and less on our own abilities. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity to grow spiritually and strengthen our faith. One of the ways to develop patience is through prayer and meditation on God's Word. Verses that speak of God's faithfulness and timing can bring us comfort and renew our hope. Regular practice of these spiritual disciplines helps us to remain calm and keep the right perspective, even during the most difficult periods of waiting. The rewards of patience. Patience brings significant rewards. When we wait on the Lord, He renews our strength and blesses us in ways we couldn't imagine. Sometimes the answer we receive is different from what we expected, but it is always the best for us. God sees the whole picture and knows what is best for our lives. When I finally got the promotion I had been waiting for, I realized that the waiting time had better prepared me for the responsibilities that came with the new position. Patience made me more resilient and confident in God's providence. Sign 6. Feeling hopeless. Feeling hopeless and wanting to give up is a clear sign that we are being tested in our faith. These feelings are common, especially when we face persistent difficulties with no solution in sight. However, it is precisely in these moments that our faith can be strengthened the most. Hopelessness can manifest itself in various ways. It can be the feeling that nothing is working, that our efforts are in vain, or that we are alone in our struggles. These feelings can be overwhelming and lead us to question our faith and purpose. During a particularly difficult period in my life, I felt deeply hopeless. Nothing seemed to work, and I began to doubt my worth and purpose. It was a dark period, but it was also a crucial time of spiritual growth. Transforming hopelessness into something positive is one of the biggest challenges we face. However, it is also one of the greatest opportunities for growth. The key is not to give in to despair, but to use it as a catalyst to seek God even more. During my period of hopelessness, I began to spend more time in prayer and meditation. I sought advice from friends and spiritual mentors and immersed myself in God's Word. Little by little, I began to feel a renewal of strength and hope. God used my hopelessness to draw me closer to Him and show me that He was in control of all things. Overcoming hopelessness requires faith, patience, and support. It is important to remember that we are not alone in our struggles. God is always with us, ready to support and strengthen us. In addition, seeking support from friends, family, and spiritual leaders can make a big difference.